Good evening, children. Yes, Shillong, good evening. How are you? Apart from Shillong, who else is logged in? Yes, Shillong, how are you? Yes, children. Yes, St. Joseph, how are you? How is school going on? Back from school? Okay. Nice. And what about Shillong Center? Joint? Okay, fine. So, any doubts from the last class? Yes, children. Any doubts from the last class? Tell me, please. Yes, children. No doubts? How come is this possible? Yes, Shillong, St. Joseph. Any doubts from the last classes? I have uploaded the videos. Some of the centers, they did not watch the videos of the previous classes. So, the videos are updated up to 10th of September. So, today is, what date is today? Today happens to be 16th. So, like up to last week, all the videos are uploaded. You can just go and refer to all those things. Zoology videos, all those have been uploaded. So, tell me what we were talking about in the last class. You don't have any doubts? I will proceed with the chapter. Yes, I remember we were talking about blood groups. We were talking about erythroblastosis poetalis, isn't it? A very different kind of disease that causes damage to the fetus in case the female, that is the mother, happens to be Rh negative and the father is Rh positive. So, I told you all those stories, how to combat that particular point also, how medical science has developed itself, that now these cases can be handled very properly, isn't it? So, no doubts up to that. I am going to start with the heart section. Shall I? St. Joseph, Shillong, should I start? Okay, fine. So, we will continue with the chapter, that is body fluids and circulation. So, continue with body fluids and circulation. Okay, and in that chapter we are going to start with heart. Yes, today I cannot see you, you people can see me, just let me know in case of any doubt. Okay, I won't be asking today to Shillong do thumbs up for Shillong. Okay, so it will be like all the centers equal for me today. Yes, children, heart. So, what do you know about heart? What have you studied about heart in your class 10th? You tell me. First you tell me, then I will tell you what I know. Yes. St. Joseph, Shillong. Shillong, are you there? Since I am not able to see you today, you need to be very, very pro on the keyboard. Yes. You have to be pro on keyboard. I will not be able to see you. Yes, everybody. St. Joseph, tell me, what do you know about your heart? We all have been studying heart since class 7th, I guess. I still remember it was the first year where I used to make human heart. So, long back memories, and I will be making the same heart today also. The class 7th heart improvised. Yes. Tell me, St. Joseph, what do you know about your heart? First and foremost thing, what you should know about your heart is that your heart is present, exactly, your heart is present in the thoracic chamber. You know what is thoracic chamber? We have done those particular chapters where we were discussing the particular cavity in the thorax which is lined by the rib, by the diaphragm and the sternum to compose a very airtight chamber, and the chamber was called as thorax, isn't it? So it is present in the thoracic chamber, and where? In between the lungs. So it is present between the lungs. Okay, it is tilted towards your left, isn't it? That's why people say that it is present in the left, although it is not present in left, it is present in the center, but it is tilted towards left, but it's present in the center, isn't it? So I got an answer from St. Joseph. I will include that. I don't know where is Shillong. Shillong, are we connected? Just let me know in the groups also, in the WhatsApp group. If you are not, you can message me on the WhatsApp group also. If you have phone, obviously. Okay. So I will add, it pumps the blood, isn't it? It is a pumping organ. Next thing, it is mesodermal in origin. Talking about human heart precisely. So it is mesodermal in origin. We know what is mesodermal. We have done a bit of things about mesoderm, ectoderm and all those things. So basically what happens is we have an origin. Okay, when we were embryonic stage, we were in our embryonic stages inside our mother's womb, in our fetal stages, we started to develop into a fetus later, but we were a particular mass of balls initially, and that mass of ball that started to make three different layers. The innermost was endoderm, the middle was mesoderm, and the outer was ectoderm. So all of us have organs which arise from these three layers. Okay, so what you have is, you have basically three layers when we were in our embryonic stages, when we were embryos. Okay, not fetus but embryo. Embryo is the initial stage before the fetal stage. So what you have is, we'll discuss this thing in animal kingdom also. This is the ectoderm, this is the mesoderm, this is the endoderm, and this section is the gut. Okay, so we all have our organs originating from this section. Like just now I gave you an example that our heart is originating from this particular layer, that is mesodermal in origin. Not only your heart, but your many of the body parts, many of the systems are originating from this layer. So it is mesodermal in origin, means this particular layer is giving rise to many organs, including your heart. Heart is one of the organs. Okay, good evening Shillong. Okay, so it is mesodermal in origin. To continue further, I will just talk about human heart now. So have you copied this slide, children? Did you copy this slide? Please let me know. Please copy this. I will have some space to write next things. Okay, Shillong, did you copy this, children? Yes, Shillong, children, did you copy this? So you have heart which is mesodermal in origin. Now, your heart is basically doing double circulation. If you talk about heart in case of different animals, like if I talk about heart in fishes, I will start with fishes. Okay. In case of fishes, the heart is two-chambered, like somewhat of this type. It has an auricle and one ventricle. So what happens is blood from the body is coming. It is coming from the body and it is going to gills. We all know that the particular oxygen supply is needed to the blood to make it oxygenated. So all the impure blood is going to the gills to get more of oxygen, and from gills it goes to the body, and from body again it follows this path. So this kind of pathway is present when you talk about fishes. So what is the number of chambers in a fish's heart? Fish's heart have 2 chambers. This is a nice pink color. Yes. 2-chambered heart. That is auricle and ventricle. Now, we'll talk about next animal after this. What is it? Amphibia. Isn't it? The frog. The characteristic amphibia represented by frog. Isn't it? So, frog has how much chambers? Frog has 3-chambered heart. Just try to draw a rough diagram. This is not the originally, but obviously you will have an idea. See, this is a frog's heart, 3 chambers. This is right auricle, this is left. So you should know this thing. If your right side is actually left on the board, when you draw a diagram on your notebook, your left will become right and right will become left, because you are facing it towards that side. So if you are just reverting it, okay, that will be the true sides. So it's like made in the opposite direction knowingly. That's why I've written right on the left side and left on the right side. And a single ventricle. So they have 2 auricle, that is left auricle, right auricle, and a single ventricle. And what happens is, this is coming from the body, this is coming from the respiratory organs. Now you know frog has different kinds of respiratory organs. We have completed that chapter. And what happens is, from the ventricles it again goes to the body, isn't it? This is what is called as the 3-chambered heart, characteristic feature of amphibia. So it has 3 chambers, as in what? As in 2 auricles and 1 ventricle. So 2 auricle and 1 ventricle gives them a 3-chambered heart. Clear, children? So can you see there is mixing of blood? How many of you can see? There is mixing of blood. Obviously, ventricle has what? Ventricle has mixing of blood. So pure blood mixes with impure blood. Mixing of blood is happening. This is disadvantageous for an animal. That is why amphibia is thought to be less evolved than comparatively higher animals. Then we have reptiles. Reptiles do have same kind of heart, that is 3-chambered, with an exception of crocodile. They all have 3-chambered heart, except crocodile. What is crocodile having? Let's see. It's very bad. Right auricle, right ventricle, left auricle, left ventricle. Blood is coming from the body, from the lungs. You must be aware that reptiles have only respiratory organ, that is lungs, just like us. Okay, none of the reptiles, they have gills or something like that. All of them are purely terrestrial. So this is going to the lungs and this is going to body. But yes, what is not mentioned in NCERT is that there is a space present. There is a space present, as you can see over here. There is a space present, this blue thing I am marking. The space present in between where there is mixing of blood again. So although the heart of reptile you have to always like write in your exam, that reptile heart is, crocodile's heart is 4-chambered. But you have to keep this thing also in mind that yes, they have 4-chambered heart, but there is mixing of blood. You have to keep this thing in mind. You won't find that thing in your books, but you have to keep this thing in mind that they have mixing of blood possible. So reptiles, all the reptiles mixing of blood, yes, true, but all the reptiles 3-chambered, false. Why? Because reptiles, they are having 4-chambered heart, that is crocodile exception, but yes, in them also the blood is not properly segregated. You cannot say that this is a particular blood which is pure, which is impure. So blood is not properly segregated in that sections also. So you need to keep these things also in mind. Clear, Shillong? St. Joseph, am I clear? Yes, St. Joseph, Shillong, am I clear, children? Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Now we'll talk about aves, heart of the aves of the birds. We are following a sequence. If you are noticing, you have read this sequence. That is, first of all, there is Pisces, then we have is amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammals. So you are following that sequence, the same sequence you are going to follow. So aves, they have purely 4-chambered heart, and there is no mixing of blood. So from here we have started to evolve actually. 4-chambered heart means what? Yes, exactly what you are understanding. It has 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. Isn't it? Now talk about our heart, mammalian heart, and directly we will come to human heart itself. One thing you can just notice over here, that in case of fishes, the blood is circulating only one time through the heart. Are you noticing that thing? Children? So blood is going from this section and then it's coming out. Blood is moving just once through the heart. This kind of circulation is called as single circulation. What happens is, blood passes through the heart only once. So the passage is only once. Blood is passing through the heart only single time. Okay? Is it clear, children? Okay, what is now different in our heart? Let's see. Quickly we'll come to our heart. We have to draw this also. So I'll try my best to draw a good diagram. But yes, symmetry is always a problem for me, so kindly ignore the symmetry issues. Diagrams are not symmetrical. I need some space for labeling also, forgot that thing. us draw a Mickey Mouse. Okay, start drawing. So your heart is covered by an outer membrane and an inner membrane called as it's too thick. Are you drawing with me? Please keep on drawing with me. We will not have much extra time. Yes. Can we start labeling? Purposefully I am making 2 bundles in this and I have made 3 in the next one. That is right side I have made 3 bundles purposefully and I have made only 2 on the left side. Clear? Can we start? Yes, Shillong, St. Joseph. Stop copying, just understand this first, okay? Stop copying for some time. This is the outer covering of your heart. Your heart is covered by a muscle which is called as pericardium. Okay, your heart is covered by this muscle. Both these particular things, layers are pericardium. Now this is a valve which collects blood from the upper part of your body. This is called as superior vena cava. This collects blood from the lower part of the body. It is called as inferior vena cava. This is right auricle. This is right ventricle, left auricle, left ventricle. Okay? Now, this is called as tricuspid valve. This is called as bicuspid valve. Clear? Up till now, clear everybody? Now, Septum in bio means wall. When we talk about septum, just have to build up this thing that this is a wall. Obviously, the wall can be in between two classes to segregate the students into, like, suppose example, you are sitting in class 9th, suppose this 10th, 11th, all the sections are present on the same row. So what we did is that we will make different walls so that the classroom can be run in an independent manner, isn't it? So in bio also we have septum, that is wall. So this particular septum is called as auricular ventricular septum. This septum is called as, again, AV, auricular ventricular septum. So in between ventricles and auricles, auricular ventricular septum, in between the auricles we have auricular septum, which elongates further to compose the ventricular septum as well. Now next is, this is going to the lungs. This is called as pulmonary artery. This is going to the body, and this is called as aorta. This is called as pulmonary vein. This is collecting blood from the lungs. So blood from the lungs is coming over here. Okay? Clear? Can you see this side? Yes, children? Can we have a look at this once again? Let's mark it with blue. The impure thing I am marking with blue color. Yes. So this is superior vena cava, this is inferior vena cava. Both of them are draining blood. Then only I will use a marker now. Okay, fine. So the blood is coming from the superior and inferior part of the body into the vena cava. From vena cava it is going to the right auricle. From right auricles through the tricuspid valve, it is moving into the right ventricle, and from right ventricle it is going to the lungs. Need not draw this on your notebook, I am just drawing this to make you understand. Please don't make your diagram dirty. This is the pathway of blood I am drawing to explain you this thing. Okay, need not draw this on your copy. Now the lungs will purify. We are done with this chapter. We are clear how does lung purify the blood. Obviously on a partial pressure basis. Lungs are going to send, see I made a mistake. Obviously the oxygenated blood, what we mark is, we use a red color, isn't it? So from the lungs the blood is coming, going into the pulmonary vein, to the left auricle, through the bicuspid valve, left ventricle, aorta and body. So are you noticing this thing that your blood is circulating through your heart twice, isn't it? Your blood is circulating through the heart 2 times in the whole scenario. Did you notice that? These are cord-like structure or thread-like structures which are actually allowing your heart to, allowing your valves, intra-auricular ventricular valves to open in only one direction. Just assume a door. Okay, your door will open only in one direction. It is not going to open in either directions, but only in one. That is what is the function of chordae tendineae. It limits the opening of the tricuspid and bicuspid valve into the auricles. It restricts that yes, the walls are opening only and only in ventricles. They make sure about it. Okay? And you have certain ridges over the surface of your ventricles. It's not smooth, but these are ridges, R-I-D-G-E-S, and these ridges are called as, where to label? Yes, just going this way. These labels are called as columnae carne. What is columnae carne? They are ridges on the surface of ventricles. And what does chordate tendinae do? This allows opening of tricuspid and bicuspid valve in ventricles. So it will limit the opening to other section, will always and always support that tricuspid and bicuspid valve should open in the ventricles, whenever into the auricles. Okay. Now we have one more valve over here, just marking in green. See, I have lots of colors. Okay. And this thing is what? This thing is called as this green section, this green thing is called as clear? I know the diagram is a bit lengthy, but you have to draw this. This is the most important part of this whole body fluids and circulation chapter. This is human heart. Once you are done with the drawing, tell me Shillong, St. Joseph. I'm just waiting for you to complete this diagram. Done with copying? Yes. Shillong, St. Joseph. Okay, St. Joseph is done with copying. Shillong is also done with copying. Okay, great children. Any doubt in this diagram? Any doubt? Keep this diagram For reference, we will refer multiple times to this diagram during this whole thing. Done? Now track the pathway, all marked in blue. Track the pathway, all marked in blue. Let us do. So all marked in blue, that is, the blood is coming from the, let's say, where? Inferior vena cava and superior vena cava into the vena cava. Okay? So let's talk about blood is coming from body. From body it is going to vena cava. From vena cava to right auricles, to right ventricle, then from right ventricle it is going to where? Need to mention the valves also, I guess. Tricuspid valve. Okay, which of the chambers are bigger, the auricles or ventricles? From right ventricle it goes to pulmonary artery. This whole pathway, and from pulmonary arteries goes to lungs. This whole pathway and back from lungs, obviously it comes to the this whole pathway, it is called as pulmonary circulation. Then let's plot the next thing. I'll plot in red. From the lungs it comes into the pulmonary vein. From pulmonary vein it goes to left auricle, through the bicuspid valve, goes to left ventricle, and from left ventricle it goes to where? Aorta, and from back aorta it goes to our body, isn't it? This whole pathway is called as systemic circulation. So pulmonary means refers to the lungs, we all know, and systemic refers to a system. So when you add together the pulmonary and the systemic, this is your heart. Heart is pumping blood to your lungs. For purification, obviously, the blood is coming back, and then heart is pumping blood to your body, and obviously the blood is coming back. This section is called as pulmonary circulation, and this is called as systemic circulation. Together, pulmonary and systemic, they compose the whole scenario, whole thing of double circulation. Clear? Yes, children. So can you define now what is pulmonary and double circulation? Okay. Have you done the homework section? Homework. From today onwards, you will be getting some homework for on daily basis. 5 questions maximum. Obviously subjective. You have to do those questions and get back to us on the next day. Everybody. So for all the centers, this is mandatory. Okay? I will be giving you 5 questions every day and you have to do those questions. Cannot escape. Okay, fine. This is clear, children? Shillong, St. Joseph, Yes, double circulation is clear. What is double circulation? So 2 times blood is passing through your heart. It composes double circulation. So your heart is showing double circulation now also. Once it is passing blood to the lungs for purification, and then purified blood comes back from the lungs into the heart again, and from the heart it is again sent to the rest part of your body, systemic circulation. So pulmonary plus systemic equals to double circulation. Clear? Clear with everybody? Done? Moving ahead. Yes, Shillong, Churachandpur, things are clear. So give me an example where single circulation is taking place. Quickly. Give me an example where you are having single circulation. Yes. Without any delay. St. Joseph, Shillong. An example where single circulation is taking place. Quick, quick. Yes. Come on, children, answer it. Shillong, St. Joseph. Chat is working. Same thing is going to happen in heart of Aves also. As the human circulation is going on, I am talking about zoology, St. Joseph. I am teaching you zoology. I am not interested now in plants. Okay. Yes. Heart of Aves, similar kind of things. 4-chambered heart, proper separation of the blood, no mixing of the pure and impure blood takes place. Now from the examples, see. In the heart of fishes, what is happening? Can you see this? In the heart of fishes, we have single circulation. Why? Because the blood is passing only once. Yes, the blood is passing only once. See, this is only passing once through the auricle and through the ventricle. Whereas here what happens is blood is passing 2 times. Once I have shown in blue and the next I have shown in red. So your blood is passing 2 times in this particular scenario. So this is double circulation. Aves also show double circulation. We also show double circulation. Clear? Yes. Clear? Done, children? Okay. I need to tell you something else also. Just going to complicate it more and more because you are in class 11th now. A bit more complications. We'll draw once again the heart. Just draw like this. I'm not going to draw a rough diagram. Okay. Now what you have is in the corner, right corner of right auricle, you have a node. Node means a kind of muscle that comes together to form a hard structure. It's called a node, which is called as sino auricular node. Then again you have is auricular ventricular node. And in this section So in the AV septum, in the middle part of the heart, particular the chamber which is dividing, the particular septum which is dividing the ventricles into two sections, in the middle part of this section you have bundle of His. And in the ventricle wall, the walls of the ventricles, okay, these are the particular kind of fibers you have in the walls of ventricles, they are called as Purkinje fibers. Now they are together called as one unit, that is bundle of His plus Purkinje fiber composes one unit that is basically present in the ventricular region, the whole of the ventricular region. And this SA node is present in the right corner of the right auricle. AV node is present, AV node, that is AVN, is present near the AV septum in the right auricle. This is the right auricle. This is your left auricle, this is right ventricle, this is your left ventricle. So you have these particular three nodes. How three? Because you are counting bundle of His and Purkinje fiber together as a single unit. You will be counting them as single unit together. That is why 3 units. So these are what? What are these particular structures? There are two types of heart. Two types of hearts, I'm sorry. There are two types of hearts. One is myogenic heart and the other is neurogenic heart. Okay, many of the books they don't discuss neurogenic heart, but yes, they have to discuss myogenic. So you should know the basic difference first, and then we can discuss. Neurogenic heart is not given in any of the books, but this is just to make you understand. I am explaining this thing. Now in myogenic heart, what happens is the origin of the impulse. Impulse means the particular impulse that takes off the beating of the heart, that starts the beating of the heart, initiates in muscle nodes, and this is origin of the impulse, initiates in the ganglia present outside the heart. What is ganglia? Ganglia is group of neurons. You know what are neurons? They are the composition unit of the nervous system. So the basic difference comes in the idea that yes, the origin of impulse initiates in the muscle nodes, and these muscle nodes are where? Present inside your heart. Can you see this, children? Everybody. And this origin of impulse initiates where? In the ganglia, present where? Present outside the heart. So on this basis we have two different kinds of heart. Now the heart of the lower organisms, they are of neurogenic category. That is, if you take example, if you think about an animal, like suppose we talk about cockroach. Cockroach has a neurogenic heart, frog has a neurogenic heart, we humans have a myogenic heart. Okay, clear? Now, apart from this, what would happen? Suppose given an example, you tell me, children, if like suppose we take out a human's heart, will it keep on beating? Or if you take out a cockroach heart, which is going to stop beating first? We're taking two hearts outside, one is from humans and the other is from cockroach. Which is going to stop beating first? Yes. Which one of this is going to stop beating first? Okay. Fine, Shillong, what do you think? Which is going to stop beating first? Okay, give you an example. Suppose in your house there are 4 rooms. Okay, 3 of them are getting light from outside. In your house you have 4 rooms and 3 of them are getting light from outside, that is whatever municipal corporation you have, municipality you have, they are providing them light. And in one of the rooms you have your own inverter, you have your own system that generates light. Okay. Now if a situation comes, if your house is isolated, you have to take out the house out of the whole place, whole building, and remove it from that place. Which of the rooms is going to not have the light in this case? Got my question? Everybody? There are 4 rooms in your house, 3 of them are getting light from the municipal corporation, municipality, that is from the outside. Light is sourced from the outside. One of the rooms is getting light by its own means. It is having an inverter, solar panel, whatever you can think about. Okay, it is generating its own light. It does not need the municipality light. You are isolating the whole house. Obviously, you will be cutting off the light of the municipality also. You are just isolating the whole house and shifting it to another place, just as such, taking it away and shifting to other place. Which of the rooms will not have lights? Tell me, Shillong, St. Joseph. Which of the rooms will not have light? Obviously those which are getting light from outside, because what did you do? You just cut the connection. You have cut the connection from the outer world, you are just segregating it out. The one room which was having its own light will keep on producing its own light, because yes, it has nothing to do with the outer world, it was sufficient in itself, isn't it? So in this way you can just have an idea that in case of myogenic heart, if you can say continues to beat, obviously not forever, but for a smaller time. Whereas in neurogenic heart, why? Because the source of the heartbeat was inside the heart. And why this? Because the source of the heartbeat was outside the heart. So if it is outside the heart and you are cutting the heart only outside, the neurons are not able to send the reflexes, send the impulses. So your heart is not beating. But in case of the human heart, the impulses are being generated in the heart itself. The heart itself is having the impulses. So if you are taking out the heart also, the impulse generating section is inside it. So it can generate the impulse and your heart will keep on beating obviously for some time. Is it clear? Yes, St. Joseph, Shillong, let me know if it is clear. Everybody. Yes, children. Clear? Quickly tell me, if it is not, I will explain again. Yes, very good, St. Joseph, Shillong. What about you children? Is it clear? Shillong, I cannot see you today, so you are escaping the keyboard work. I am looking at you people. I am observing you, not looking actually, observing you. Please don't escape the keyboard. I cannot connect to you unless you are typing out to me. Please type your response. Is it clear, children? Okay. Just make sure somebody is sitting at keyboard today for today. Okay. Fine. Very good. So it's clear now. Your heart is what? Neurogenic or myogenic? Your heart is myogenic. Isn't it? And the myogenic section, you just now wrote it, that it is initiated where? It is initiated in the muscle nodes, isn't it? So what are the muscle nodes you talk about? You have is SA node, you have is AV node, and I told you at that time also bundle of His and what? Purkinje fibers. Isn't it? So these are the three things you should know about your heart. That your heart is having double circulation, your heart is myogenic. And what are the myogenic parts of your heart? The myogenic parts of your heart are SA node, AV node, bundle of His, and Purkinje fiber together in the ventricles of the ventricular wall of your heart. Okay? Now let's see how much impulse it generates. SA node generates an impulse of 72 times per minute. This is what is our heartbeat is about. The fastest one to control your heartbeat. So your SA node is also called as pace maker of your heart. Okay? Also called as pacemaker of your heart. Clear, children? Clear up to this? Everybody? Tell me, I will be giving you a break after this. Once it is clear, I will be giving you a break. Yes, Shillong. Very good, children. Ah, very good. Okay, Shillong, clear? I guess we must be clear up to this. Okay, fine. Very good. Yes. Shillong. Somebody please come on the keyboard. Okay. So I guess it is, there is no doubts means, no question means, no response means, it must be clear, isn't it? So just we will take a small break of 5 minutes, we will resume after 5 minutes and we will continue how your heart actually operates. This was the whole construction of the heart, the whole arrangements. Now how this arrangement comes together to make your heart functional, that we will see after the break. Okay? Rush and come back soon. Okay, children, let's resume. Good night. Oh, no issues. You can just refer to the video later onwards. Okay, we will just continue with the chapter. So this was what a GIF I'm trying to show you, how the blood circulation takes place in your heart. You can just refer to it once. Okay, good night, all the best. St. Joseph, just do good in your exam. We'll see this. Yes, let us start. So this is like, just see. This blue dot shows the impure blood which is entering in the inferior vena cava. Now, from the inferior vena cava, it goes into the right atrium or the right auricle, and from the right auricle, it enters into right ventricle. From right ventricle, it goes into the pulmonary artery, and then this from the pulmonary artery, it goes into the lungs. Now, it gets back into the lungs, and the backing part is by pulmonary vein. This pulmonary vein, they enter into the left auricle through the pulmonary vein, and through the bicuspid or mitral valve, it enters into the left ventricle. Now, from left ventricle, it is going into the section of the aorta. See this red thing. This aorta they are going into, and this from the aorta they are going into different parts of the body. Okay, once again, this is a particular section. So it goes into the right ventricle, from right ventricle into pulmonary artery. From pulmonary artery, they are moving into the lungs, and from the lungs, they are coming back into the pulmonary vein, left auricle, left atrium, and from left atrium, they are going into the left ventricle. From ventricle part, they are moving into the aorta. Yes, they are entering into ventricle, and from the ventricle section, they are moving into the aorta part, and from the aorta, they are released back into the rest of the body. So this is what is called as double circulation of the blood in your heart. Okay, clear? I wish to show something else also.
Human circulatory system. The left side of the heart has two connected chambers, the left atrium and the left ventricle. The right side of the heart also has two connected chambers, the right atrium and the right ventricle. These two sides, or pumps, of the heart are not directly connected with one another. Oxygenated blood from the lungs travels through large vessels called the pulmonary veins and enters the left side of the heart, emptying directly into the left atrium. The pulmonary veins are unusual in that they carry oxygenated blood. Other veins, because they carry blood back to the heart from the body tissues, carry deoxygenated blood.
From the lungs, it is coming back.
Occurs while the heart is relaxed. This flow, roughly 70%, occurs while the heart is relaxed. The atrium then contracts, filling the remaining 30% of the ventricle with its blood. After a slight delay, the ventricle contracts. The contraction forces the blood to exit into an opening that leads to the largest artery in the body, the aorta. The atrioventricular valve closes and prevents the backflow of blood into the atrium.
To prevent the backflow of blood. The same thing I was trying to tell you.
The aorta is closed off from the left ventricle by a one-way valve, the aortic semilunar valve. It is oriented to permit the flow of the blood out of the ventricle, but it snaps shut in response to backflow.
And aorta into the ventricles.
Many arteries branch from the aorta, carrying oxygen-rich blood to all parts of the body. The pathway of blood vessels to the body regions and organs other than the lungs is called the systemic circulation. The systemic circulation brings blood to the neck and head and to organs in the rest of the body. The systemic circulation gives up oxygen to the body tissues and receives carbon dioxide. The blood that flows into the arterial system eventually returns to the heart after flowing through the capillaries. As it returns, blood passes through a series of veins, eventually entering the right side of the heart. Two large veins collect blood from the systemic circulation. The superior vena cava drains the upper body, and the inferior vena cava drains the lower body. These veins dump deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. Blood passes from the right atrium into the right ventricle through a one-way valve, the right atrioventricular valve, also known as the tricuspid valve. Blood passes out of the contracting right ventricle through a second valve, the pulmonary semilunar valve, into a single pulmonary artery, sometimes called the pulmonary trunk, which subsequently branches into arteries that carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs. The blood then returns from the lungs to the left side of the heart, replenished with oxygen and cleared of much of its load of carbon dioxide. The pumping of the heart is a repeated cardiac cycle of relaxation and contraction of the atria and ventricles.
See the this whole scenario of this scenario. So were you able to correlate Shillong with this particular image or the video, sorry? Okay. Were you able to correlate Shillong? So this whole cycle just now what it went in this way, this is basically called as cardiac cycle. We'll start with a new topic, that is cardiac cycle. Okay, so what is cardiac cycle? Whenever you hear the term cycle, that means it is going on in a repeated manner endlessly. So one event always is subsequently followed by other event, then another event, and then the first event again comes into cycle. So it's a cyclic way in which all the events are repeated after each other in a sequence. So this is what is a cycle. So cardiac cycle is basically what our heartbeat is actually moving on in a cyclic manner. How we will see this now? So in the first phase, we will just understand there are two events going on in your heart. Either your heart will be in a state of relaxation. So heart has two major events. The first is said to be systole, S-Y-S-T-O-L-E, and the other is said to be diastole. Right auricle has deoxygenated blood. Now, systole is the section where you deal with the contraction, and diastole is the relaxation part. So you have contraction and relaxation, the two alternate events moving on in your heart. Let's see in what fashion. So first of all, your heart is in a manner where all your auricles and ventricles, they are relaxed. We say this event to be joint diastole. the first event of the cardiac cycle. What is happening over here? Auricles plus ventricles, both the ventricles, both the auricles, right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, left ventricles, they are all relaxed. Okay, so auricles and ventricles both are in relaxed position. Now what happens is, relaxed means there are 2-3 things which are going on. Number one, blood enters first of all, the tricuspid and bicuspid valves are open. But semilunar valves are closed. So tricuspid and bicuspid valves are open, but semilunar valves are what? They are closed. So what is going to happen? The blood will enter from 2 directions, isn't it? Blood will enter into the right auricle through the tricuspid valve. I am just writing out it TV. It goes to left ventricle. It goes to right ventricle. This is a particular part of the deoxygenated blood. Now in case of oxygenated, what happens? Blood enters into left auricle through the bicuspid valve. It enters into the left ventricle. That's all. It is not going to move into the pulmonary artery, veins, anywhere. The blood will stop there itself as soon as it enters in the right ventricle or left ventricle. Let's see the diagram of the heart for this more reference. So the blood is entering from this section. You can just refer to this particular diagram. This blood is entering from this section. This is going into it. The heart is relaxed. Okay, again the blood is going in this section and stopping over here. Here also what is happening? The blood is entering into this section and just stops over here. No exit. So semilunar valves are closed means the blood is not going outside your heart, but it will remain in the heart itself. Okay, let's come back. Now what happens is, there will be a new event called as auricular systole. Systole is an event where the contraction of the auricles will take place. Now this contraction is initiated by an impulse in the SA node. What happens is, SA node generates an impulse that, since our heart is myogenic, we need not forget it, that initiates the contraction of your auricles. Okay, so what is happening? Your auricles are contracting. So SA node generates an impulse, your SA node is going to generate an impulse, and this initiates a contraction in the auricles. So your auricles, what they are going to do? They are going to squeeze out all the blood from them into the ventricles. So all blood is going to get squeezed from the auricles into the ventricles. So blood is going to contraction of auricles, and this is what is going to give a result, that blood from auricles is pushed into the ventricles. It's pushed into the ventricles. Done. Number 3. Now remember, we drew the diagram where the AV node was placed somewhat near to the SA node. Now SA node generates an impulse. Let me just clear this thing. SA node generates an impulse. We can see this diagram, and this impulse is picked up by the AV node. The impulse generated by SA node will be picked up by AV node. Remember this particular sequence. So what happens is, now next event will be what? Next event will be ventricular systole. Since your ventricles are filled with blood, we will start up with ventricular systole. So what is going on in ventricular systole? Let's see. Yes, the impulse, the blood is still filled in the ventricles, it is waiting to be pushed into the aorta and the pulmonary arteries. But for that we need to make our ventricles contract. So this is particular event where your ventricles are going to contract for the whole pushing of the blood present in it into the respective arteries, that is aorta and the pulmonary artery. So impulse generated by SA node is picked up by AV node and transferred to, it will transfer to what? To bundle of His and Purkinje fibers. Now we have already done this section that bundle of His and Purkinje fibers are present where? They are present in the ventricles of the wall. Walls of the ventricles. So this bundle of His and Purkinje fiber, they will receive that impulse from the AV node, and they are going to do what? They are going to cause, once the impulse reaches the bundle of His and Purkinje fibers, what they are going to do? They are going to cause contraction of ventricles. So this is ventricular contraction. Okay, the ventricles are contracting at this point. Now what would happen if ventricles are contracting? Yes, initially we had an idea that seminal walls were closed. Now what is going to happen? First event, number one, since we are going to exert a pressure on the wall, seminal valves, they are going to open. So seminal valves open and blood flows into, or blood is pushed into what? Into pulmonary artery. Yes, pulmonary artery part will be from which section? From the right ventricle, and aorta from the left ventricle. Okay, now clear up to this? Everybody, Shillong, Chuachampur, St. Joseph, clear children? Clear up to this? Yes. Are we clear, children? Just let me know if not. Very good. So joint diastole, auricular systole. Now one thing, one particular part of story is still missing, that if you are pushing, when you are pushing the blood from the auricles into the ventricles, the blood can come back, isn't it? The blood can come back. So what we need to do is that we need to close those AV valves, that is a tricuspid and bicuspid valve. So at this point of time, what is going to happen? At this point of time, what would happen? Just write it down in star mark. What is going to happen with this star mark I am mentioning over here? The tricuspid, because it was open earlier, now the tricuspid and the bicuspid valves close. Why? To prevent backflow of the blood. So the blood can come back into the auricles. So what we have to do is that we have to close the tricuspid and bicuspid valve to prevent backflow of blood into auricles. Okay, children, and this particular closure produces the first heart sound, isn't it? You must have heard your heart sound. What is it like? Yes. What's the first heart sound? Tell me. Yes, very good, Shillong. It produces your first heart sound. So not like in Bollywood movies. It is not producing the sound of dhak dhak, but it is producing lub dub. So being a biologist, you should know that the first heart sound is lub, and it is produced when the closure of the tricuspid and bicuspid valves takes place. Okay. So when you close the tricuspid and bicuspid valve, there is a particular sound produced which is called as lub, and that is what is translated into, that is what is picked by a stethoscope whenever the doctor sees through your heartbeat. Okay. So this is the first heart sound produced during the auricular systole. Now the second heart sound will continue. We will having second heart sound. The blood flows into the pulmonary artery aorta. The blood is cleared now. Once the blood is sent back, what is going to happen? The semilunar walls close to prevent backflow of blood into ventricles, and this closure produces second heart sound, that is dub. Clear? Yes, Shillong? Tell me children, is it clear? So you are having two heart sounds, subsequently at point called as lub, that is when the tricuspid and bicuspid valves close, and subsequent heart sound called as dub when your semilunar valves close. So this way your heart is operating. See, such a complex thing the nature has made, isn't it? Okay, now the story is not over yet. We have some more important things. Now, what is going to happen once the systole in the ventricles are happening, isn't it? When the ventricle is undergoing systolic part, so you know you have two things to do. Either you have to study or you have to relax. So relaxation is the part which is diastole, and studying is the part which is systole. So since auricles have performed their studying part, see, auricles have done their systole, so they have studied. Now what they have to do? They have to relax, they have to go back to sleep. So ventricular systole is often, or you can say is compulsorily accompanied by auricular systole. So once the auricles have done their job, they are done with the contraction thing, what they can do is that they will relax, and now ventricles will start to contract. So auricles are relaxing, and after ventricular systole, what happens? Once the ventricular systole part is over, the study part is over. Now what to do? You have to now relax. The ventricles start to show diastole. So the auricles was already in your diastole phase. Now ventricles are also accompanying. So what is going to happen? The next event is again the joint diastole. Why? Because the auricles were already in the phase of relaxation. Now ventricles have also accompanied them. Now both of them together will start the next phase, that is called as joint diastole. If we draw a pie diagram, somewhat get this kind of, this is 0.4 seconds, 0.1 seconds, 0.3 seconds. This 0.1 second is auricular systole, AS. This 0.4 second is joint diastole, JD. 0.3 second is ventricular systole. So together if you take the whole time limit of the cardiac cycle, the whole cardiac cycle takes a timing of 0.8 seconds. Am I clear, children? Am I clear the whole timing for cardiac cycle? Clear? Yes, Shillong. Yes, very good. Clear? So this is what is called as. So did you copy everything? Did you copy everything? The cyclic event and everything? Did you copy? Yes. Okay, very good. Very good. Keep it up. Yes. Okay. So what if I try to represent this whole thing on a particular chart-like structure? What if? So this particular representation is called as electrocardiography. How many of you have seen this particular chart-like representation? It's called as ECG. So what is ECG? ECG is the graphical representation of the electrical activities of heart during what? During cardiac cycle. So whatever electrical activities, because it is a stimulus, because it is an impulse, obviously it will be depolarization, repolarization. We will see all these things in the chapter number 21st. So this is basically graphical representation of the all So if you want to note down the electrical activities, what would you need? You would need electrodes. So for this thing we need 3 electrodes, and the patient is having 1 electrode on the left wrist, 1 on the right wrist, and 1 on the either of the ankles. So it is 1 on the left wrist, 1 on the right wrist, this is WRIST, and 1 on either of the ankles. So as you have seen the particular plug points present in a charger or in a washing machine socket, let's say TV socket, there are 3 plug points, isn't it? So one is for negative, one is for positive, and the thickest one is for earthing. Similar kind of structure we have to draw to have a complete circuit. So this complete circuit is going to operate in a way that it is attached to a computer screen, and all the electrical activities are converted in the terms of the waves. This chapter has a lot of diagrams. Okay, let's see, no issues. We'll do all of them. This is P wave, this is Q wave, this is R, this is S, this is T. This is one whole cardiac cycle. This again starts with another P wave. So what we have is, we have 4 different types of waves in an ECG graph. What are they? The first is P wave, the second we will take it together, QRS wave, and the third is T wave. Now P wave is showing you the event when the auricles are contracting. So this is auricular contraction or systole, sorry. QRS wave is showing you the ventricular contraction, or I told you as earlier, this will be auricular relaxation as well, because I told you, I explained you this thing, that if it has done its studies, it is going to relax. So auricular contraction, ventricular contraction, or auricular relaxation, and the T wave is representing the ventricular relaxation. And the event, the time period between the consecutive two waves, this is particular space, this represents the joint diastole. Clear? Yes, Shillong? Getting this? Very nice. Okay. So, whatever is being taught is clear to everybody? Whatever has been taught, is it clear to everybody till now? Let's have a quick revision. What are the things we did today? And then I will be giving you some questions to do as assignment. So we talked about human heart, then we thought of putting something like what kind of different kinds of heart the different animals have, like fishes, amphibia, reptilia, aves, okay, then mammals. So they had this kind of heart. This was the human heart I was talking about. We did an elaborate explanation of this whole thing, and we started to study about pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. So we thought of having a double plan in our body, so we are called as double circulating animals. We circulate the blood twice in our heart, so we are having double circulation. Then we talked about three muscle nodes, because our heart is myogenic in its functions, and this is what is neurogenic and myogenic heart. So cockroach and frog, once you take out its heart, it will stop beating, but ours will not. Why? Because we have certain muscle nodes which are generating impulse inside the heart itself. We have SA node, we have AV node, we have bundle of his, we have Purkinje fibers, all those structures. So these structures, they keep on releasing certain impulses, like SA node is generating an impulse of 70 to 72 times per minute. So we thought of doing a particular cyclic event called as cardiac cycle, where we started with joint diastole, auricular systole, ventricular systole, or this would be diastole. Sorry children, this should be diastole, really sorry, just correct it please, everybody Shillong. This is diastole, auricular diastole or ventricular systole, because it is relaxing, it has already contracted in the earlier phase. Now we will talk about ventricular diastole, and following ventricular diastole the heart again will come into a phase of joint diastole. Then there was electrocardiography, which is detecting the electrical events in the form of graph. So this was the particular events, the P wave, QRS wave, T wave, and then we had in between T and P the particular event called as joint diastole. Okay. So there is a particular rate at which your heart is actually pumping blood, isn't it? So you have to have Stokes volume. This is volume. So what is Stokes volume? Stokes volume is the volume of blood pumped by heart in each cardiac cycle. It's called as Stokes volume. So this equals to 70 ml. So once in 0.8 second your heart is pumping 70 ml. So you can have an idea about 1 minute. It's called as cardiac output. What is cardiac output? Cardiac output is volume of blood pumped by, instead of ventricles, just follow your book and I will just write it over here, the ventricles, because we'll precise things over here. So volume of blood pumped by ventricles in 1 minute. How much blood is pumped in 1 minute is called as cardiac output. So this cardiac output, if you just multiply this 70 into 72, since your heart is beating 72 times in a single minute, just multiply this will be somewhat equivalent to 5040 ml, and we'll just calculate this to be 5 liters. So your heart is actually pumping the whole blood of your body in a single minute. Such an efficient organ it is. The whole blood of your body is being pumped by your heart in a single minute. You have 5 liters of blood on an average in our body, and that is pumped by our heart in a single minute. This is called as cardiac output. Clear, Shillong? Am I clear, children? Yes. Please tell me. Strokes volume. Okay? Okay, बहुत बढ़िया, शाबाश. Now, next thing is what? Next we will have some questions. Okay? Let's have some questions for you to do at home. First thing. Okay. Yes, I don't want to give you this homework, but I need to. Draw a human heart. Obviously, without label it's of no use. Draw a proper human heart labeled as you have been guided. Okay? Okay, next is explain double circulation. What is ECG? Just explain the whole ECG thing, okay? Explain between cardiac output and strokes volume. Okay? The last question, a small question I will be giving you. No big question. This is important topic. Explain cardiac cycle. 1 week is sufficient to do all these things. It will hardly take 1 hour of your precious time to complete this whole section. Just come back with this assignment in the next class, please. It's a kind request. Okay? Okay, let me know if you have any doubts now. Yes, children. Did you copy all the questions of the assignment? Shillong? Did you copy everything from the slide? Okay. You are celebrating Hindi Divas or what? It was yesterday. Okay, बहुत बढ़िया. Shabash. Yes, Shillong. So now you tell me your doubts. Seriously. You tell me your doubts. Anything you did not get from the chapter, you need me to tell you again. We are left with the chapter. Okay, tell me first which chapter would you like to start after this? Shall I continue with the human physiology? I was planning to have continued human physiology. Do you want me to continue with human physiology? Yes, Shillong? Human physiology, do you want it continuation? Excretion. The next chapter what I will be starting in the next week would be otherwise excretory waste and its removal. Do you want me to continue that or anything what you wish? Obviously from zoology, not from botany. Yeah, Shillong. Tell me. Okay. So if you don't tell anything, I will start whatever I wish. It is excretory waste and its removal. Okay, that will be okay with you. Shillong. Discuss and come to a conclusion. Okay, I am having the perception that you are discussing. Discuss and come to a conclusion quickly. Don't fight in between. Otherwise, let me teach whatever I wish. Okay. Okay, fine. So if you come to a discussion, conclusion of this discussion, just let me know on the WhatsApp group which chapter you want me to start specifically. Is there any specific demand from your side, or I will just continue with the excretory waste and its removal. Okay, fine. Okay, children. Okay, fine then. We'll see you soon in the next week, and please do come back with this assignment. It's a kind request. Study hard. Stay fit. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, Tata. Good night.